Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our study through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to a Twilight song, poem 19 of the 31 of Goodbye My Fancy. And here we're going to come back to drum taps. We're going to come back to so many moments in Leaves of Grass. Remember when he said, my book and the war are one? And we're going to meet the theodicy again, that question of our big five. Why must there have been this terrible, horrific war? We're going to come back to it again. Whitman so many times emphasizing the significance of that. Remember at the end of So Long, for example. Now our assumptions that you've been playing with us at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Talks with Walt, our playlist. And the introductory set of comments to Goodbye My Fancy, I'm hopeful that you have as well been exposed to. Now our Nortons will tell us that this one was first published in Century 40 of May 1890, 27, with the subtitle For Unknown Buried Soldiers North and South. We're told here by Nortons that Whitman toiled much over this poem, no less than 5 drafts of this poem, which is remarkable. And so I think that alone tells us we got to pay close attention to a Twilight song. Now, Twilight, you'll remember, is used 13 times in Leaves of Grass, and in Annex 1, you'll remember the very poem, Twilight itself. And he'll begin with Where He Is. As I sit in twilight late, alone. Remember, the very first time that word alone gets used in the very first poem, In Oneself I Sing, you'll remember To the Sunset Breeze. Go back and look how he uses it there. By the flickering oak flame. I love that he uses the word flickering in this poem. That is to say, it's soon to go out. And I love that he references oak, because that immediately makes us think of Louisiana live oak growing, right? Musing, we've seen this, how many times he uses this word, on the long past war scenes. The wound dresser comes immediately to mind. After so many years later, he still has fresh in his mind those horrific images. What does he call it in Song of the Open Road? My old delicious burdens. He comes back to those burdens. Musing on the long past war scenes of the countless buried unknown soldiers. The unknown soldiers gets used one time as a phrase in Leaves of Grass, and it's right here. Of the vacant names, of the unindented airs and seas, the unreturned. Amazing how it unindented and unreturned. The brief truce after battle with grim burial squads and the deep-filled trenches. Go back to Old War Dreams in Drum Town. I mean, all the poems, but remember in Old War Dreams he said, we dig the trenches and gather the heaps. I dream, I dream, I dream. Remember, he does that 3 times. Of gathered dead from all America. Again, we're back to his use of that word 92 times is all that it gets used in Leaves of Grass. It's only going to be used 3 more times. And the last 2 will be used in A Voice from Death, here in a couple of poems later. North, south, east, west, whence they came up. In other words, it was an American war, he wants to remind us. And then he's going to give us the cataloging. And again, what he chooses, what he doesn't choose. From wooded Maine, New England's farms, from fertile Pennsylvania, Illinois, Ohio, notice the 3. From the measureless west, again, can't be measured, takes us back to Song of Myself 46. The measureless west, Virginia, the South, the Carolinas, Texas, and then in parenthetics, even here, again, to give the immediacy of this poem. In my room shadows and half lights and the noiseless flickering flames, again I see the stalwart ranks on filing, rising. I hear, notice from I see to I hear, the rhythmic tramp of the armies. Think about tramp in the way that he uses that in Song of the Open Road as well as Song of Myself 46. I tramp a perpetual journey, come listen all. You million, his use again of that phrase that is going to exaggerate. You million unwritten names, all, he stacks it, all, and then in the dash. You dark bequest from all the war, and then he'll say it, a special verse for you. And the idea that this is the goal, this is the theodicy, right? Leaves of Grass in some ways written for you. A special verse, by the way, used only 1 time in Leaves of Grass. A flash, think about this, a flash of duty long neglected. Think about the power of the fact that flash is used in Drum Tap 6 times, but it's almost always about explosion. But here, it's an insight moment of duty long neglected. Go back to see how he talks about duty in the animals in Song of Myself 32. Your mystic role strangely gathered here. In other words, it's almost like you get the phantoms. It's the phantom imagery of earlier in Leaves of Grass. strangely gathered here. Each name recalled by me from out the darkness and death's ashes. Think about, of course, ashes of soldiers and songs of parting. Ashes, henceforth to be deep, he stacks it again, deep within my heart, recording for many a future year. I think he means you. I think he means you guys. I think he says, I want you to remember that America was built specifically because of all of those amazing dead, unknown dead, right? Many a year. Your mystic role entire of unknown names, or north or south, embalmed with love in this Twilight song. Love gets used 8 times in the second annex. It's an amazing word throughout Leaves of Grass, as we pointed out. But here, he says, I want to pass on the love that I have. At 2a, I think he's arguing that a nation or democracy, their fallen must be respected, must be remembered. At 2b, I love his use of the word love in Leaves of Grass. It's a fun study to just look at how he uses that word. At 3a, obviously, we've mentioned drum taps and ashes of soldiers. At 3b, what respect have you shown to the unknown fallen? And is reading Leaves of Grass for you a type of tribute? I certainly think that Whitman would hope that it would be. Thank you.